Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I think I haven't done a video in a week, so it's time to get back to it. So I've been talking with someone a few days ago, and he was having problem understanding the array method findIndex. So I explained it to him, but I thought I should also make a video for other people that maybe are struggling to understand findIndex, and I thought I will make a video about the method indexOf and findIndex because they do similar things. They're just a little bit different, so I wanted to explain both of them so you can also see the difference. So basically both of them are array methods. You can use them on any array to find the index of an element, and let's explain first indexOf. So with indexOf, let's make an array first, const numbers, for example, and an array looks like this, and we will put the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let's make it bigger maybe. Okay, and now we want to, with indexOf, we basically use indexOf to find the index in the array of an element of a particular element. So basically we say something like numbers indexOf, and let's put a different an element that has also different type. Let's say a type string, right? And we want to console log, so we want to say console log numbers indexOf, and I will say 3, right? And if I do this, let's see what happens. I will run this index methods, and I just did index of 3, and this is what happens if you try to find the index of an element that doesn't exist, because 3 as a string doesn't exist in numbers, so you will get -1. If the element doesn't exist, this method will return -1, right? So let's just fix this and put 3 here and run it again. And if you see here, we get 2. And what is 2? 2 is the index of 3. Basically, it finds the index of the first element in the array that is equal to the value that you passed here. And we know that array indexes start from 0, so we would have the index here would be 0, here 1, and here 2. So it finds the index of the first element that has the value equal to the value you pass in indexOf, right? Now let's say if we pass Marian, let's clear this and run it again, and we get 8. So if we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So it finds the index of the first element that's equal to that value. Now let's say we had another element that was also Marian here. What do we get now? We get 2. We get the index of this one, but this one we don't reach it because this is the first one. So we get the index of the first one in the array. Now to indexOf, this is basically a value that you have to pass. You have to pass the element that you have to find, but you can also pass an optional value, and the optional value is the index from where you want to start the search. So now if I pass here the index of the index of 3, which would be to start from here. So if I pass the index of 3, it will start from the index of 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. So it will start searching from here, and it will basically return the index of the first element that equals to this value, but after that index in the array. So now if I do this, we get 8 because it's starting from here. It doesn't find this one anymore, right? Now it's important to know that first of all, if you pass a 0 here, it will be the same as you don't pass anything, because it will start from the beginning and it will search all the array, right? So now again I would get 2 because it will start from the beginning. And it's also important to know what happens if you pass here a negative value like -2. So if you pass a certain value, a negative value, what this will do is it will only search in the elements of the last n element of the array. If this would be n, it will look in the last n element of the array. So because this is 2, it will only search in the last 2 elements of the array. If this will be 4, it will be looking in the last 4. So now let's see if we pass here -2 or let's pass here -2, right? If we pass here -2, it means it will only look here. So if I clear here and I try this again, it's looking for Marian in these 2 elements because I passed 2, so it's looking -2, so it's looking in the last 2 elements, right? We will get -1 because it's not finding it. Marian is nowhere to be found in these 2 last elements. But if I pass here -4, it will look in the last 4. But remember, it also starts from it still starts from this side, it doesn't start from this side, it starts looking from this side. So again we get 8 because it does find it in the array at position 8. It will start from here because it gets the 4 elements, and at index of 8 is finding this one, so it's returning 8. Now if I pass here, let's see how many elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I pass here -9, so to look in the last 9 elements, then we get 2 because it's finding this one as well, because that's where it's starting from, right? So remember, if you don't pass any value here, it will look in the whole array and it will return the index of the first one that it finds that's equal to that value. If you pass a second element here and it's positive, then it's starting from that index, that 2. Here we have 2, it will start from here because this is the index 2. We have 0, 1, 2. That's how the indexes start from 0, right? But if this value is negative like this, then it will look in the last n elements, n being this number that's after the minus. Okay, so this is indexOf in a nutshell. If you had any problems understanding this, please leave me a comment below and I'll try to explain it better for you. Let me know what you're struggling with to understand. And also, if you're enjoying this video and you feel like you're learning, please give a like. It will or a comment as well. Maybe it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and I see everyone asking for this, which means it really helps. So if you could give a like, I would appreciate it. So now let's move to the findIndex method, which also finds an index. But the way this one works and finds the index of an element based on a condition. Instead of finding the index of a certain element that you pass a condition that the element should pass, right? So let's see how this works. Let's say console log numbers, and again, if there's no element when using findIndex with a condition, if there's no elements found that meets that condition, it will also return -1 like indexOf does. So it behaves in the same way. If it doesn't find any index, any element that meets that condition, it will return -1. So then you know there's no element in that array that meets the condition. So we say numbers, and these numbers, we say here numbers because that's the name of the array that we're working with. If this would be another name, we would put that name here, right? You basically call the method on the name of the array that you used, right? So now we say findIndex, And in here, remember we had something different here. We had an element that we pass and also maybe an index. Here you pass a function, and what happens if you pass a function like this, and these functions can have 3 arguments, but usually, like most of the time, you will only have 1 argument. So we will start with 1 argument in here, and this argument you can give it any name you want, but you have to know. So we're gonna make the function like this and put it like this, right? And the argument that goes in here, you can give it any name, but you have to know that this argument, the first argument in this function, will get the value of each element in the array 1 by 1. So it will basically loop through the array and it will get 1 by 1 each value. It will first take the value of the first element, then the value of the second element, and so on. So we can say here function of number. So we say each number, well, function of number, because we said here numbers, but here we have other elements as well. So let's maybe call it, just to be true to ourselves, let's just call it elements and put here elements as well. And here we will say element. We can still keep number because you can give it any name you want, but you want to give it something descriptive. So if we put here element, what's gonna happen, this findIndex will basically run through the array, and this function will get each element 1 by 1, and it will, and then you will say return. And if this function returns true, then once the first time it returns true, it returns the index of the element that returned true. Immediately as while it returns false, it keeps looping, but once it has returned true, then it will return the index of this element in the array, right? So if I say return true here, what's gonna happen here is, because I say return true, so it has returned true immediately, it will return 0, because that's the first element. So if it returns true from the first time, like immediately, then it will return 0, because we don't go any further, right? So if I do this, you see it returns 0, because immediately it has returned true and it stopped. So while it's returning false, it keeps going to the next element. Once it returns true, so now if I put here return false, what's gonna happen is, it means it will run through all of the array, it will keep getting false, the function will keep, so if the function returns false, it keeps going until to the end of the array, and if it keeps going until to the end of the array and getting false for all of them, then this findIndex will return -1. But if it goes and at some points it returns true, then this findIndex will return the element. It will return the index of the element for which the function has returned true. So if I say here return false, it means it will return false for all of them. So what we get back from elements findIndex will be -1, right? Because it returns false for all of them. So we get -1. So what we have to do here is basically make a return based on a condition based on this element. So let's say we want an element that is of type string. We want to find the index of the index of the first element that is a string, right? So what we want to do is return type of, because that's how you find the type of an element. You say type of element equal, and you want to say string, right? So now when this function is run for the first element, because it's starting from here, what we get here, type of 1, is it string? No, it's not string, it's a number. So it goes to the second one. Is type of 2 string? No, false, so it goes to the next one. Then is type of Marian like this, is it string? True. So if it's true, then it returns true. So once it returns true, then it goes out. It doesn't run the function anymore. It goes out and it returns the index of this element. So we would get 2 because this is the index of Marian. So let's see. So we get 2, right? Okay, so here you can also pass index, and index would be the index of this element in the array. Now you would rarely need this, and also you can pass array. Now again, this you can give them any names, but you have to know what they represent. This represents the elements, this represents the index of the element. You can give it any name, but it will represent the index of the element in the array. And this is basically the array on which you're running findIndex on. And you can use this here if you want to modify this array while you are looping over it in the findIndex function, which you will rarely need. I never used it. So yeah, anyway, we'll basically disregard this, but it's good to know that you can also have the index. Like for example, let's say you want to, for some reason, you want to find the index of the first element for which the element is equal with its index in the array. So then you would say return element equals with index, right? And if we run this, we will probably get, let's see what we get. We get -1 because there's no element in the array that is equal to its index. But if I put here, for example, if I put here another 1, now we will get 1 because here the index is 1 and the element is 1. So we will get 1, which is the index, right? Okay. Now let's change this to 8 and change this to 0, for example. And now we will get 0 because the element is 0 and its index is 0. So this would return 0, right? So remember, as long as these functions return false for this condition, it keeps going to the next element in the array. Once it returns true, it goes out and it returns the index of that element if it has returned true for one of the elements. If it goes up until the end and it doesn't return true at any point, then it will return -1, and you will know there's no elements that meets that condition. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I explained it really well. Again, if you have any issues with this method, please leave me a comment about what you're struggling with, and I'll try to explain more for you. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, a like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now. Thank you.